Okay, let's transition now and talk about keeping managers. Now, in general, managers are not somebody you just want to pull off the street through an Indeed ad. Now, it can work. I've seen it work, but it's not generally the best idea. You pretty much, it's almost across the board. You pretty much have to have logistics experience, last mile, or if you're in line haul experience of some sort to pull in to have someone that can effectively manage a team. Oftentimes it's drivers that are promoted from the position of driver into managing, and they are already noticed as being self-starters. They're self-motivated. That is one of the primary things you want to look for when saying, I think this person has what it takes. Now, they need soft skills. They need organizational skills. They need attention to detail. These are all extremely important, but you need to make sure that your best retention strategy for your manager, you should have already thought about that when you hired that manager, right? So that's the first thing, is hire the right person for this job. I've talked to contractors that are new to the space, that get into it, that realize fairly quickly, I've got a manager who does not respect my wishes for the budget and the profitability of this company. And I've got a real problem on my hands because they're sort of the keystone player on this team. And if I can't get them internally motivated and incentivized to execute these budget goals that I have and make it more efficient, then I really have nothing I can do, because they hold the keys to the kingdom. So make this hire right the first time as much as you're able to. Get with us on this. We have a lot, and I mean a lot, of resources at Route Consultants specifically dedicated to BC training, BC hiring. So get with us on that if you're not sure what that looks like. A few things, though, real quick, that I'll hit. Make sure that if you promote a driver to BC, remember this. One of the big selling points that drivers want to take advantage of when they are getting promoted is that they don't have to be on a truck every day. Most of your BCs, unless you're talking about an organization that is usually 6, 7 trucks or less, sometimes 5 trucks or less. And when you get at that small of a scale, sometimes your BC will need to be a full-time or at least part-time driver just to make payroll. But if you're a bigger organization, a lot of these drivers are looking at the BC and they're saying, man, it's really nice that he doesn't have to be on a truck every day. I want that for myself. That's usually one of the biggest, if not the biggest, selling point to get a driver to want to come into that position. So be aware of that. That is something that if your BC is not getting downtime, then they're probably not going to stick around very long, because that's the reason they agreed to step up from a driver position into the BC role. So keep that in the back of your mind. Again, big caveat, they are going to have to cover routes sometimes. So again, communicate those expectations clearly. Don't let them think this is easy money, but be aware that if they're just getting crushed with constant call outs and they're on a truck 5 days a week, you need to get some more resources in there. You need to get some more butts in seats. You need to change your recruiting strategy, or you need to get that manager some more managing resources, a lead driver or something like that, to help them get out of the driver's seat. Next thing is be reachable. You are going to be one of the only, if not the only, pressure release valve for your BC. On the daily grind, they got their drivers pressing against them, complaining about, asking for this, asking for that. And then on the other side, they got FedEx demanding service, demanding safety, demanding pickup compliance, demanding all these things. So the BC job, I like to call it sometimes the pressure cooker job, and it takes a special person to be able to thrive in that role. They have to be able to work well under pressure. You need to be aware of that pressure building up and be a good release valve to them. If they call you at 9:30 at night because a driver just quit for a BS reason and they need to let off some steam about it, you need to be able to pick up the phone, okay, and just let them vent about it. Because if you lose them, you're going to be up a creek without a paddle. And then 2 more things real quick. Make sure you stay on the same page in terms of your budget. And this goes along with what I said at the beginning. If you can get your BC internally motivated, whether that's, internal motivation of, one day I would like to gift you this business. And I've known many AOs that do that. They see potential of like, I don't want to do this forever. I want to maybe give part of this, a carve out of my business, to my BC one day. That would be an internal motivation. But then the external motivation is, maybe if your BC hits your budget goals for the week, you give them an extra $100 on their paycheck, right? So whatever it is, make sure you're on the same page about budget. If they start going down one direction and you're expecting that they're going another way in terms of how many trucks we want to dispatch each day to stay profitable, If you kind of just let them go on their own devices, that can be a recipe for disaster. So keep a regular check-in time for you and your BC on how to stay on track on the budget. And then finally, most importantly, keep drivers in the recruiting pipeline for your BC. Make sure they have enough butts in seats so that, again, they're not having to be a fill-in driver all the time.